welcome to another edition of Boxing for Real. I'm your host, Don Omega. Back with me this week is Iron Truth. Let's go. Okay, we're going to get some comments from Iron Truth on some of the stuff he missed out on last time. So, what was your take on Casamayor versus Pearson?
Well, Casamayor looked pretty good. He got hit with a few right hands, 2 or 3 clean right hands. Didn't affect him. I was surprised that he got hit with them a little bit. I didn't give Pearson a round, to be quite honest. Like, I don't know what Atlas was watching on the ESPN2 commentary. He had Casamayor up 5-3. I see no way to give Pearson 1 round, much less 3. I thought Casamayor put on a pretty good performance. I'd give him about an A- for it, actually. So, you know, I think he deserves a third match with Corrales. Definitely, Corrales was absolutely ridiculous in the studio. If Casamayor would have knocked this guy dead with a jab in the first round, Corrales would have found something to say to get out of this third fight with him. He does not want the fight. He calls himself a champ. That's a joke. He got knocked out in the last fight. He weighed more than Castillo. He needs to stop using that excuse. That's pathetic. Him claiming Casamayor needs to win a title and asking what has he done to deserve a rematch. How about he knocked you the fuck out, faggot? That deserves a third match. You won by decision. You did not destroy him. Destroying means you knocked somebody out.
You were the one knocked down in the match.
Exactly. Casamayor boxed your ass off completely in the second fight. He knocked you out in the first fight. Say you won 12 rounds to nothing in the second fight. You won by decision. He won by knockout. Whose was more impressive? This is all you need to know about Corrales. And I dare anybody to try to convince me of any different on this. He's willing to give Freitas a rematch who quit against him, but not Casamayor. So that's all I'm going to say about that fucking queer, that coward Corrales. Moving on, hopefully somehow, someway, Casamayor can get him in the ring or on the street or something, and he'll knock him out whenever he does. Anyway, moving on.
Now I do have to say this about the Casamayor-Pearson fight. There's no way I could give Casamayor an A- for that performance, because to me, I've seen Casamayor look a lot better before. I'd give that fight really, truthfully, a C+. I don't think he was that impressive in the fight, but he did win the fight.
Well,
and that's what matters. If he would have knocked him out in the first or second, like you said, then I would have given it an A+. Well, but an A+ and an A- are not that close.
He's never been a one-punch knockout person, so I don't really ever expect that unless he's fighting a just absolute complete bum, and sometimes not even then. I wouldn't expect him to get
Well, the fact that Pearson was hitting him more than he should have gotten hit was my thing. Casamayor, he usually doesn't get hit that much.
Well, that's true, but I didn't think he got hit all that much.
I don't see how you could possibly give him an A for the fight.
He put his combinations together well. Pearson did land more than I thought he would, but still didn't do enough to win any round. He would go into the shell over and over, his defensive shell. Casamayor let his hands go. He didn't early in the fight. He didn't let his hands go as much as I thought he would have to handcuff Pearson against the ropes. But
and he made Pearson quit.
Yep, and he did make him quit, absolutely. Pearson did not want any more of Casamayor. He did not respond on purpose to the
really
referee.
From the 7th round on, you could tell he didn't want to be in there.
And he was even running. He ran completely in the 8th round, and Casamayor got him out of there. If Casamayor would have put together a good stoppage win, like the referee jumping in to stop it, or an actual KO 10 count, then I could have given him an A+, but since it ended like that, I'll just say an A- because he did win every round, so that's what I'm going by. I only saw him get hit cleanly about 2 or 3 times, actually, with those right hands.
I saw him get hit a lot more than that, actually.
Not cleanly, though. So,
but hit.
Well, yeah, hit, of course.
And a younger Casamayor wouldn't have been getting hit with some of those shots.
But anyway...
As shown against Nate Campbell.
Yeah, but anyway...
And I do
Casamayor.
think Nate Campbell was better, especially at that time. He was better than Lamont Pearson was.
No doubt, he's a better fighter. Anyway, on the undercard of that show, Julio Cesar Garcia, the 19-year-old with now 39 fights. Very impressive, very calm in the ring. Not too surprising since he has had that many fights that he would be that calm even though he's that young age of 19. Get him a few more fights, and he's pretty much ready for the elite level. Also, John Jackson got a second-round knockout, I believe. The up-and-coming fighter from Michigan had fast hands, let his hands go good, had good skills, explosiveness. Looking forward to seeing him more. Now he's 6-0. All knockouts, so keep your eyes on him. Karmazin, pretty much what I thought it would be as far as the rounds, as far as how many rounds Spinks won to Karmazin. I picked 8-4 for Spinks. I thought it could have been that 7-5 at the closest, 115, 113 for Spinks. He actually did rock Karmazin a few times, just kind of wobbled him, nothing major, but I was pretty surprised at that. Karmazin took Kasim Uma's punches better than that, actually, and Uma is definitely a harder puncher than Spinks. He's not a hard puncher at that much, but definitely more than Spinks. Spinks looks just as fast as he was at 147. This makes Judah look great now that Spinks has won a title in 2 weight classes. He fought one of the best guys at 154, and in Karmazin, Spinks did kind of tire and play out in the 11th and 12th. He did run those rounds, but it was too late for Karmazin anyway. Karmazin didn't impress me at all. He should have came in, let his hands go, just went all out against Spinks.
But he was still there, you have to give him that.
Well, he was there,
He
but
was
I mean,
still there where a lot of guys would have just given up.
Well,
So I do give him credit for that. A lot of
think
guys would have even been trying at that point.
well, I don't think he was trying that much. I mean, he was really...
I think he was trying about as good as Roman Karmazin can try.
Maybe that, but that just wasn't enough. I would expect somebody against Corey Spinks, who's not a hard hitter, to just rush in and try pretty much anything because they
My
shouldn't be
main point
worried.
is I think Karmazin, if he fights anyone else from now on, it's a good opponent for them. You can't say
Yeah, he's a good
bum.
opponent. Yeah, he's not a complete bum. I would say he's a decent
And
fighter.
before this fight, I thought the Uma fight was a complete fluke. I thought Karmazin was a joke, and this fight showed to me that Karmazin is a better fiter than I gave him
Well,
credit for.
he's a decent fighter. I said that before, since I did see the Uma fight. Even to beat Uma at it when he's sick is somewhat impressive.
And anyhow, Corey Spinks did win the fight. What do you think he'll do from here? What would you like to see him do?
Well, what I'd like to see him do is fight Kasim Uma, really. That'd be the best fight to make for him at 154. Probably more likely he gets matched up with another Don King fighter who also has a title in Jose Antonio Rivera. But this guy is known for pulling out of fights left and right. So who knows if he will actually fight Corey Spinks. I wouldn't bet on it.
Sounds more like a baseball player anyhow.
But definitely Spinks beats him if he fights him. I pick Uma over Spinks. There's some options out there for Spinks. Mosley or Vargas, I don't see them fighting him because it's just, I mean, there's no money in it, no interest. It won't prove anything. Judah's already knocked Spinks out, so I don't see what they would really get from that. Vargas moving up to 160 anyway, but Mosley's moving back down to
How about the
147.
Forrest Corte winner?
That'd be fine to see him against either one of those. Even the loser of that fight, he could fight. I would pick either one of them over Spinks, but definitely interesting. They should be interested in that fight. That would be a good win for either one of them.
I think it could be a pick'em fight. It depends on their performance coming up in this match.
We'll have
really.
to see. Yeah, so that's a fight to look for. Spinks should be in some pretty big fights.
And also fighting this week are Sugar Shane Mosley and Fernando Vargas in a rematch. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, Mosley clearly won the first fight. He dominated pretty much. I gave Vargas 2 rounds at the very most in the first fight. I had it 7-2 going into the 10th. Didn't like the stoppage where it came. Vargas was completely aware of what was going on. I don't think it should have been stopped. The cut was, the swelling over the left eye was bad. It looked pretty bad. They should have probably just let it go on. Thankfully, they didn't, because it looked like Vargas was up on the scorecard somehow, so Mosley would have been robbed of a decision. That was awful. Mosley did dominate. He was back, not completely back to his old self, but he threw a lot more combinations, had his speed going for him a lot more. In this fight, I expect Mosley to even beat him quicker and even better, more dominant.
One of those judges was a female, and I think she was just in love with Vargas's looks more than his actual performance, because I see no way in hell you could have Vargas winning that fight.
Who knows what a female judge is thinking? They need to get them out of there anyway, as they need to get boxers that are female. This is a man's sport. Keep men as judges, referees, fighters.
And if you want to have women's boxing, keep it separate. We don't want to see it.
Right.
You don't want to see it. And if you do, you don't want to be watching our show.
Right, you're not a boxing fan. So anyway, I picked Mosley. I'm going to go with the 9th round TKO this time. I think he knocks Vargas down once. Vargas gets up. Mosley finishes him. Much more clear of a stoppage this time than the last one. Vargas has gone 12th round knockout, 11th round knockout, 10th round knockout. Now it's going to be 9 to Mosley. Hope Vargas can come back after this. Vargas, great fighter. I like him a lot. He'll move up to 160. There's a lot of people that, pretty much anybody there, I would pick him to beat. Maybe not Winky Wright, but other than that, definitely pick him over Jermaine Taylor for sure.
And just to recap my pick, I'm picking Mosley, unanimous decision. Could see a late round knockout.
I could see a decision, but I'm definitely I'm about 95% sure Mosley's going to stop him again, I would think. I don't know what Vargas can do differently to change the outcome at all. So Mosley hopefully fights Floyd Mayweather November 4th. That'd be the perfect fight. After this one, he says he doesn't want to fight again, but he also said that after the first Vargas fight.
That's right, he said it after the first one.
Which was in February. Alright, anyway, on the undercard, you have Juan Diaz versus Randy Suiko, who Mzonki Fana beat by 12-round decision. Fana, of course, the guy that got his head knocked off in 2 rounds by Marco Antonio Barrera last April. Suiko lost to this guy, so Diaz should knock him out middle to late rounds. Don't know what's going to happen for Diaz next. There's some big fights out there for him. Like you said, Corrales won't fight him, of course. He's way too tough of an opponent. Would love to see Casamayor get a shot with him, but
that would be a good fight.
That would be great. Knowing the judges, though, with Diaz's coming forward style.
And the way he's promoted.
Yeah, and Casamayor being the boxer, which is never appreciated, as see Casamayor's 3 losses and 1 draw. But Diaz would probably get the decision, so might not want to see it after all. But anyway, and also on the undercard, Daniel Ponce de Leon fights a rematch from last October. I'm not even going to try to say the guy's name. He's a Thailand fighter, Saad something. It was on HBO Latino last October. He beat him by decision. It was somewhat of a close fight, so this should be interesting.
Well, that's our show. Thank you for watching. Be sure to email us, boxingforreal@gmail.com. And check us out on the web at omegafights.com. We got fights for trade or whatever. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. Send in those questions. Later.